What's going on, team? I have a really special episode of the Fireside PM podcast for you today. This is a topic that I've been thinking about doing for a long time, never got around to it. It's kind of like a horoscope or personality type for product leaders. And in this episode, we're going to go over the 8 types of common archetype product leaders that there are. And just as importantly, talk about where they're strong, where they tend to have a little bit of area for development, and perhaps most importantly, what's the best environment for them to take on their next product leadership role where it's going to really lean into their superpower. So this came out of a topic that I was discussing with my back channel PM cohort. You can learn more about that on maven.com/TomL. I was being asked by the cohort, hey, what's your view on trying to invest in improving areas that you're weak or leaning into areas that you're strong? So for the T-shaped skill set, do you focus on shoring up kind of weak parts of the horizontal bar, or do you go much stronger on your vertical bar? And since that cohort is a bunch of, fairly experienced PMs, my view was look, early career, for sure, you want to nail the fundamentals, but mid-career forward, you really do want to make your superpower as impactful as it can be. Now, what that then means is that you end up, in a way, typecasting yourself into a particular type of product leader, but that's okay because that is who you are. The goal for this episode is know who you are, and then now that you know who you are, be on the lookout or be aware of the types of opportunities that are really well suited for you. So it's kind of like in football, like if you, are a great running back, you may want to play on a team like, the Seahawks or the Steelers or something like that. But if you really like to throw the ball, you may play on a team like maybe like the Saints back in the day. What kind of PM are you? Let's go through 8 of the types. So this is a common one. A lot of PMs are attracted to the function because they're creative people. In a former life, they could have maybe gone into UX or they could have worked at IDEO, and they're just always up for new ideas and they get energy from it. They love brainstorming. They love visioning and workshopping, and they were born with colored Post-it notes all over their room. They love kind of figuring out what bets to make, maybe more than actually executing on the bets. They have a natural attraction to new kind of out-of-the-box ideas. And these are the kinds of folks that are really well suited for an early stage startup, usually as a founder, or an innovation group within an established company, or maybe as a PM lead for a V1 product that still has a lot of headroom to kind of expand and improve. They would be very unhappy in a business that's already gigantic and it's an optimization or it's a, hey, let's add 10 more countries kind of role. Nothing against that. It's just that these people would not be happy in that role. Another type is the business person. This is like maybe the MBA, the former McKinsey, Bain, BCG person. They're amazing at strategy, reviews, strat planning, product operations folks. They are terrific at analyzing industries, doing the combination of business and product planning. They do great with SVPs and senior executives, and they're pretty strategic and thoughtful about goal setting. That type of business strategist, product lead, often you'll find them thriving in an enterprise SaaS world, in an area that's heavily regulated, where the rules of the game are not entirely clear, but there's unique opportunities there. They might be in certain marketplace type businesses, but they're generally pretty terrific. just to contrast that, they may not be the person you want. Once you identify a market, like what's the solution to build for it, that's where maybe the ideas person would probably be stronger. On the other hand, if you ask that ideas person to come up with a framework and process for a corporation to agree on, the top 5 areas to invest and resource planning and all that kind of thing, they probably not do as well either. So that's the second archetype, the business person or the strategist. The third is your team builder and culture champion. This is a person who is just naturally great at building trust. They get along great with everybody. People thrive under them. They're able to retain top talent. The team feels like they have a safe space and they're able to execute well. And so this type of person would be really great in a company that's growing very fast. They need someone to kind of hold it together. Or it could be really helpful in a turnaround situation or a situation where the org is kind of like a little bit brittle and is kind of licking its wounds a little bit. Maybe there was a big reorg or there was a big restructuring and then we've got to kind of start over. Now, at some point, let me know in the comments if you think any of these add more value, typically in a corporation. Of these first 3 so far, I think this team builder is highly underrated. And in terms of creating shareholder value, maximizing enterprise value, contributing to the success of the business long term, someone that's able to build trust, develop top talent, retain that talent so that they can perform really well. I mean, this guy, he can hire a strategist and an ideas person, perhaps easier than the strategist or the ideas people can lead a complex organization and retain top talent. So far, I think the team builder right now, if you've got it in you, this is a great superpower to develop. The CEO whisperer and deal maker. These might be like the former biz dev person. They could come from private equity. This is not a skill, but they may know the CEO and they have developed a good rapport with them and they're able to build trust with executives and get deals done or decisions made. They can build external partnerships. These are the people, the guys and gals, that are also great at building external partnerships. They're at the conferences. They're having, keeping in touch, investing in their network, finding new opportunities. They're often the ones that are kind of on top of like, oh, this deal happened or that deal happened, whereas the rest of us are like, oh, we've been so focused on building and shipping our thing. They may not be the best on building and developing a team. Not always the case, but not always the natural area if you're strong as a whisperer and deal maker. They might depend on these deals like where so much so that they're focused on the foundational kind of core offering and value prop may not get as much attention. If you have a large enterprise business working in a complex, important ecosystem with like channel sales, key strategic partnerships, like, I'm thinking of like the early Android leadership or, people who maybe early AWS folks or, maybe even like the Stripe people. Like these are really, really important kind of businesses where you cannot just build a great product and have product-led success. You really do have to build partnerships, and those partnerships have to result in big wins. Maybe even the OpenAI guys I might put in that category, guys and gals. The next type is the person who just gets stuff done. This is the execution person. They may have come from a program management, maybe even project management, COO type background. They are super detail oriented. They meet their deliverables consistently. They will walk through, fire to get the project done. On the other hand, they may not think as much about long-term strategy, like how can you if you're trying to nail every detail. And so if you have a company that's got product market fit, that's scaling and now needs to 10x, but isn't trying to change its strategy, but is trying to land and execute really well, this type of person would be invaluable to your company. And in that same scenario, if you hired an ideas person, not as impactful. If you hired a deal maker, maybe not. If you hired this business strategist, like, well, we kind of know what we need to do. And now it's about 10xing, going from 10 cities to 100 cities, or going from one country to 10 countries, or going from, 10 million to 100 million users. This is where an amazing execution person will go a long way. Now, if you're the CEO, oftentimes you're thinking about putting together a team that represents all of these areas. But for this episode, and given that this is a Fireside PM podcast, we're talking about product leads. So this type of product lead would be amazing, maybe even like pre-IPO, where you kind of got it dialed in. And you just need to kind of get that next level of scale. Then there's the technologists. They might be a former engineer. They could be a former eng manager, tech lead, technical co-founder. Then they moved into product. Extremely strong technical understanding. They work great with engineering teams. They can bring the best out of the engineering team. They can improve the engineering team's technical thinking. They are not afraid to take on the most complex technical problems. They sometimes, like everything, your strength is your weakness, where you overemphasize that technical depth. Maybe you're not as customer obsessed. Maybe you're not seeing kind of market trends as well. But if you are a company that is looking for a product lead and your main product is APIs or infra, or you're building for developers, this type of engineering expert product lead will have massive impact. Might be required. You throw the business strategist, ideas person, overall kind of organizational leader into a super technical company and technical product. They might have been Hall of Fame PM leads in other environments, but will struggle in this environment. And similarly, if you take the PM lead from a company like, Scale AI or Snowflake or, something like that, and then you drop them into a very consumer-focused company or even a SaaS-focused company, may not have the same results. All right, next. Okay, I think this is the last one, which is the superstar PM individual contributor who gets kind of a battlefield promotion. This often happens when the product lead kind of moves on and they're like, oh, Jane is kicking butt. Everybody, says she walks on water. She gets promoted every year. She launched this and that. Highly skilled, sets the bar, repeatedly gets the top performance rating. Everybody talks about this person like they're the role model, elevates the whole team around them. It's very common to make them a PM lead, especially maybe for a team, sometimes in a small company scenario. They are amazing for startups that are still small, maybe still growing out their product leadership team. And it's let's see how far Jane can go. Like anyone, going from IC to manager will struggle with delegation, will feel every bone in their body is going to want to critique every decision their PMs are making. And that'll be a process to figure out the right level of guidance and control and leadership and inspiration and support, and letting PMs earlier in their career make mistakes where the costs aren't too high, but also knowing when to override decisions and do it in a way that builds up the team. So definitely a common archetype and an important one. But I would say if you're the manager of this person, you're asking them to lead the product team, don't give them too much too quickly. Maybe give them a few people, and then later on, give them more of an expanded role. And don't expand until you've seen a couple cycles of success. have the people under that lead, are they thriving? Because if they're struggling, then it probably means that lead is still dialing in their management style. Okay, I think that was it. So hopefully this was helpful. Let's buzz through and summarize all of them. We had the ideas person, V1 stuff, early stage stuff, crazy eights master. We know who those people are. You can kind of figure them out right away once you meet them. Actually, all of these you can figure out right away once you meet them. The strategist, classic giveaway, former consulting firm, MBA from fancy place, super sharp talker, amazing decks, very trustworthy, the type of person where like if they make a recommendation, you'd feel pretty good about it. Then there's the culture champion, the team builder. These people, I think, after going through all of them, like if I were putting together a team and I found someone that was really great at this, that could then hire under them, like I think that's long term. Now, you don't have to pick one of these. Everybody has a little bit of all of these. I would say there's probably 2 or 3 that are going to be more for you. Like I myself think of myself as an ideas person, but also a team builder and probably like a business strategist as well. But if you are spiking on team building, you're just keep doing that. You're going to be highly rewarded. The deal maker, this is the person that's negotiating that thing. They're going to acquire some company. They're going to do some giant partnership. It's going to be a huge deal. It's going to change everything. There are definitely tons of businesses where that's going to be crucial. And it also depends on what the company is going through. And they might go through a phase where they initially need the ideas person, and then they need the execution person, and then they need the deal maker, and then they need the culture kind of team builder. So you as a product leader will want to develop skills across all of these, but it's also important to know what's the one where you enjoy using it the most? Because if you know what is your favorite 1 or 2, then as you're thinking about new opportunities or whether to stay in your current role, it'll be much easier to know oh, wow, this is a really great fit. And then when you get those recruiter inbounds and they're like, hey, I've got this thing, you'll be able to quickly know if you're right for them or not. Then we went on execution person. Oh my God. As an ideas guy, I freaking love execution people and working with them. And if I can hire them, I do. If I can partner with them, I do. They make every idea person's life possible. It's symbiotic probably. Technologists, extremely important, especially if you're going into a foundational AI company or you're going to a dev tools or infra or cloud, crucial. Or even crypto, really, really technical topics that require a level of understanding that if you don't have it, you may not make the best product decisions. Superstar, IC, made head. Many of us have been that person. And then you manage a team for the first time. And wow, what a rude awakening that will be if you haven't gone through that. And if you have, you know what I'm talking about. Key thing here, if you are that person and you're going through this right now or you're about to, is go slow and know that you will need to adapt your toolkit. The biggest mistake I see people make going from IC to head of product is they go to one of 2 extremes. They either completely let go of the reins and say, well, I'm going to manage people the way I want to be managed. I just want to be given an objective and then I just go. And you are forgetting that not everyone is kind of built like that. And many PMs, they do want varying levels of guidance and support. And then the other extreme is they just treat everybody if they're not exactly like them, they're going to hammer them into becoming like them, which is also not good because everybody is built different. So if you take a football player, a quarterback who is amazing at, screen passes, and then you try to turn them into some deep ball quarterback, like that's not going to work, and vice versa. So be aware of that. So last thing for you is, if you wanted more resources, you found this kind of thing helpful, you can subscribe for free to my Substack, podcast, YouTube channel. It's all on Fireside PM. You follow me on LinkedIn. My username is Tom L. If you need more help, I do one-on-one professional coaching, usually for experienced product managers or product leads. I also do some work with CEOs who are trying to build out their product team. You can hit me up at Tom Leung Coaching. I have a group coaching program where a bunch of PMs are curated, and then we kind of build a cohort and then meet for a period weekly for a period of 3 months. That's at maven.com/TomL. If you are a founder and you're looking for an early check or advisor, paloaltofoundry.com. I have a project that's also free. It's a PM to PM advisory kind of community at tomslist.com. You just sign up, and then I match people based on experience, and you hop on a call and give each other advice about something. And it's a good way to kind of facilitate cross-company PM to PM fertilization and advice. And then I am starting to think about new operating roles. I've been on this kind of portfolio sabbatical for 2024, which has been amazing because I get to make this content. I've been doing a lot of teaching and coaching and investing, but I do miss building teams and leading teams. So if you know of a mission-driven, really exciting entrepreneurial company that's looking for a new product lead, let me know. I'd be happy to learn more, and at a minimum, maybe do some advising or consulting, or maybe more. All right, with that, let me know in the comments what you thought of these archetypes. Did I miss any? Was there a ninth that I forgot? Probably. And do you agree with me that the most important one is that team builder? I think it is. I think you get that right team builder, everything else is possible. Whereas if you just have one of the others, you're going to have these weak spots. But by definition, like that team builder, they can build a portfolio of other product leads under them. That's a good topic for discussion. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time, and let's get back to work. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time, and let's get back to work. Oh no! Did that not record? You gotta be fucking kidding me. No. No.